Hi everybody, Gert Louw from Cape Town and welcome to another Do Talk video. In this video, one of my YouTube friends from the UK, Harry Hayfield, posed a question to me on my YouTube channel, and he wanted to know the following. Harry says, I would very much like to hear your thoughts, Gert, as a South African, as to whether the ANC have lost their way following the death of President Nelson Mandela, and if they have, whether the government should stand down, disband the ANC and fight a new election. Okay, Harry, my dear friend, I must tell you, I'm really not a political person. I'm trying to stay out of politics as far as I can. I hardly ever watch the news, and I'm trying not to read the internet news. But for me, who have lived half my life in the old South Africa and half my life in the new South Africa, old South Africa where it was still apartheid and all those things, and the new South Africa under the ANC, which is a more democratic South Africa, obviously. So that puts me in a unique position to have an interesting mindset about what is busy going on in this country. So let's get the ball rolling. Okay, first of all, I am completely against racism. Second of all, I think the change that South Africa had from the apartheid South Africa to the new South Africa did by far more good than harm. But we are on a dangerous path. Let me give you a quick glimpse into the heart of South Africa. Now, sure, I don't know if my figures are exactly right, but let's say about 10% of South Africa is white population, white and colored population, white, colored and Indian population, and 90%, let's call it 85%, 90% is black, you know, Xhosa, Zulu and all the other tribes. Now, all the black population in South Africa, central to their belief system is the sangoma, which is like a witch doctor. And they do whatever this sangoma tells them, and they fear this sangoma. Now, just to give you an idea, sorry, I've got this winter cold, so I'm trying to get over it. Now, just to give you an idea, the power of the sangoma, just yesterday I read in the news that they busted more than 100 people in I think it's Natal province of South Africa, eating human flesh. Yes, you heard right, human flesh. Why? Because the sangoma prescribed it to them to better certain situations in their life and to make them happier and things like that. And they just do it because the sangoma said so. Now, how does the sangoma get the human flesh? Well, yeah, they admit it. It's a raped girl that they killed and they cut her up in small pieces, her flesh. Okay. Now, the problem that we have in South Africa is that by far the majority of black people in South Africa follows, without thinking, whatever the sangoma says. And with the sangoma, the government used the power to control their people. Jacob Zuma even went so far as to threaten in one of the last elections, threaten the ANC supporters with the sangomas if they're not going to vote for the ANC. And in fear, everybody will just vote for the ANC. Doesn't matter if they like the ANC, doesn't matter if they like Zuma, it doesn't matter if they're doing the right thing. In fear, they will just do whatever the ANC tells them to do. And this reality makes politics very difficult because the people doesn't vote democratically. They doesn't vote for who's the best party or who does the right thing. They vote out of fear. And at long last, this is starting to change a bit. We had a vote of no confidence recently in Jacob Zuma in South Africa in the parliament. And there was 30 to 40 of his MPs in parliament, of the ANC's MPs, that voted against the ANC. Now that is big news. Because this means that the rot, the corruption is so bad in the ANC that there are a certain group of people that is not prepared to continue supporting and voting for the ANC, even if they are threatened with sangomas. So that is good news for South Africa. So bottom line is, the ANC under President Jacob Zuma specifically is so corrupted. I don't know if you heard about this Gupta family saga that's been going on in South Africa. Now, this is a very rich Indian family that is very close friends with Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa. And they've worked their way into the whole political game in South Africa to such an extent that they basically run the country. And they get contracts, illegal contracts, and they get money that's thrown to their side and everything. Just to give you an idea, the Gupta family was flown in, the whole family, like hundreds of them, was flown in from India and all over the world for a lavish wedding that was held in South Africa. Flown into the South African Air Force base. Then they were taken from there to Sun City, which is the biggest resort in South Africa. The whole resort was just reserved for them. And they had an extreme lavish wedding at Sun City. Everything on government costs, South African government costs, meaning it came from the pockets of the South Africans. So we, me, and all the other people in this country paid for millions of rands for a rich Indian family to come and have a grand holiday and wedding here in South Africa. That is the corruption that's busy going on in the country. And nobody seems to be able to stop it. Why? Because Zuma has appointed all his corrupted cronies in all the different departments, so nobody is prepared to take action or stand up against corruption. Because how can you think the thief will make a case against the other thief? They don't do that. And that is basically what is happening in South Africa. And that is why the corruption will and cannot stop. Because the corrupted people are in control of everything. Now, the problem is that this is not going to change. The ANC has shown that this is not going to change. So what are we going to do? Well, there's good news. The wheel is turning. In 2 elections ago, the ANC got just above 60% of the vote. In the last election, they got like just above 50%, I think 53%. And everything shows that their support is dropping like a stone. So everybody expects that with the upcoming 2019 elections, that they're going to lose. They're not going to have the majority votes. And it doesn't mean that that's going to be good for South Africa, because that means we probably going to have a government made up of a couple of parties, and whether the South African people will follow that and not result in violence, that is another story, but we'll leave it for that. So Harry, yes, I do think the ANC should disband. Yes, I do think, that election should be held. But it's not going to happen, because the ANC won't allow that. But they cannot not allow the 2019 elections, because then we're going into a dictatorship. So the 2019 elections will happen. And then whether the ANC like it or not, they most probably is going to lose. So the political landscape is about to change in South Africa. I've got hope for this country. It's a beautiful country. And there's a lot of good people in this country, black and white, and all other races, all religions, everybody. There's a lot of good people here in South Africa. And those people just need to stand up and say enough is enough. But it's busy happening. Those people are making their voices more loud and clear lately. So enough of politics. I hate politics. There's nothing good ever comes out of politics. But Harry, I hope this answered your question. I still love staying in South Africa, especially Cape Town. They're DA controlled, and they're not part of the ANC controlled places in the country. And remember, guys, any of you that wants me to answer any question, it can be anything. Doesn't need to be politics, doesn't need to be fitness, could be anything. Just write a comment on any of the Do Talk videos, and we'll take it from there. And I'll feature you in the next video. Cheers. Gert Louw from Cape Town, signing off. Cheers, Harry. Have a great day, my friend. Bye.